Hi, I'm Cristina Calk with First United Mortgage Group. I specialize in construction loans. I'm here with Logan Cross from Cross Custom Homes in Parker County, Texas, and he was named the #1 residential home builder in 2023, and I'm sure he's going to earn it again in 2024. So I'd like for you to meet Logan.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. So we get a chance to work with a lot of different lenders.
Yeah.
Customers sometimes have their own lender, but it's always a pleasure working with you. Our customers really like working with you.
Thank you.
And you make the process really easy. So I would say when customers ask us who we recommend, we always point them to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thanks for taking care of the customers.
You're welcome. Yeah, they're nice people. People in Parker County are just really nice. You know,
Yep.
So it's a great place to be, great place to live, great place to build a custom home.
That's right.
So when did you actually start Cross Custom Homes?
I started in 2009 down in San Antonio.
Okay.
And that was just to do a couple projects down there. But really 11 years ago when we moved back here is when we really got it going.
Yeah.
So back here to Weatherford area.
And so do you do spec homes and custom?
We do mostly custom. We do a few specs. I would say probably 85% custom, 15% specs. Just kind of depends on the market conditions.
Yeah.
It's been a little different the last couple of years. So feast or famine the last couple of years, but yeah. So that's kind of the mix that we stick with.
So where are you primarily building?
Normally around Weatherford. We're based in Weatherford, so generally 30 miles, 45 miles away from Weatherford. We do try to kind of stay this side of Fort Worth.
Yep.
A little more laid back over here.
Yep.
But we go to all the surrounding towns in this area.
Yeah. So Parker County mainly. And so what are some of the advantages of building in the county versus in the city limits?
Well,
from a builder's perspective.
The city can make things a little bit trickier. Like right now, I'm trying to get this house going in the city of Weatherford, and the customer doesn't want any landscaping. They want no sprinklers, plants, anything like that. Just normally fine, but the city of Weatherford makes them.
Oh.
So they have to put in plants, they have to put in sprinklers, they have to put in grass, even though they told me they're not going to use it. So you get a little more flexibility out in the county. Things move a little faster. You don't have to get as many inspections. So we still do inspections. We have a third-party inspection come inspect our foundations, inspect our houses right before sheetrock and insulation, and then again at final. Just double check, another set of eyes, quality control, stuff like that. But it does go a little quicker, and you get a little more flexibility out in the county.
Yeah. So on an average build job, custom build job, what's the time frame, like breaking ground, assuming that all your suppliers are, in line, from closing to breaking ground to getting keys? What is a general time frame?
Right now, we're saying around 9 months.
Okay.
Could be a little faster than that, could be a little slower than that, but most projects are running around 9 months.
Okay. So from a lending standpoint, people come to us and say, I want to get a mortgage, I want to custom build. And so I walk them through the steps on my end while you're simultaneously working out all the stuff on your end for the plans and specifications and the budget. From the time that someone calls you and says, I want to build a house, to the time that you have all of your budget items lined out, your plans and specifications from the architect, what does that time frame look like?
So let's go 2 different routes on that. First route, if the customer does not have any plans and they want to customize plans, draw them from scratch, I would say that could be a 2 to 3 month process between getting all the plans done, getting bid, getting a price together, getting the contract signed to get it over to you. So that would be kind of route 1. Route 2 would be, we do have some customers that say, hey, I already have my plans. We got my lot picked out. How much would it be? And that's generally 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, so that goes pretty fast.
Yeah, that does.
And so do you have like stock plans? Like, do you have something that they can just say, you can say, hey, I've built these houses, I already have these plans ready to go, and they can be like, I want that one.
We do, yes. Most people still make tweaks to it, which
Mhm.
is totally okay. And a lot of the time they can actually go walk the house in person, maybe at frame stage, maybe finished, but they can go walk through it and take the plans and be like, I would change this, this, and this, and we can make that happen.
Yeah. And so how often do you find people making changes, like you're in the middle of construction and they're like, yeah, I don't really like where that ceiling fan is or that plug, or how often are those little changes made?
Hourly.
Yeah.
No, it kind of comes with the custom homes.
Yeah.
We don't limit change orders. I mean, we can explain to customers like, hey, if you do that, it could cause a delay, or it could do this, this, and this. But at the end of the day, it's their house.
Yeah.
And they get to make those decisions. So, but change orders and changes just in general are just part of the process.
Yeah. And so I know that I've seen in some contracts where they'll say, if you make a change, it's X number of dollars just to make the change, not necessarily for the materials and for what you're actually adding or taking away. Do you charge for just the process of doing a change order?
No, we don't.
Okay.
I call that kind of like a hand slap fee.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Okay.
We don't do that. But I mean, we do generally say, hey, this is going to cost this because A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's rework on it, repair work, stuff like that. So yeah, we try to communicate all that stuff on the front end.
Okay. And so when someone's working out their plans and specifications and their budget, is that when they're actually picking out the type of tile, the colors? Are they picking all of that prior to signing a contract, or do they sign the contract and then go to like a design appointment?
So typically they do the design stuff after the contract's signed.
Okay.
Now I generally meet with them and I try and figure out, hey, what all are you wanting in your house? I try and figure out what finishes they want. I don't want to budget their flooring for stained concrete if they want nailed down wood floors. There's a big difference in price there.
Right.
So I'll try to get all those items that are going to be cost factors so that we've kind of got everything narrowed down cost wise, and then it's just a matter of picking out the color tile, the color paint, the type of wood floors that they want.
So if there's a material that you know is more expensive and less available, it's going to take longer, what kind of solutions do you provide if you think that's going to like really throw off the timeline?
So we'll give options. We'll say, hey, the product you want is 2 months out. It's going to cause a 3-week delay. Or we have this other option that
is comparable.
May or may not be a difference in price, but it's more readily available, and just try to give the customer the option of what they want to do.
Are most of your materials locally sourced and provided?
Yes, they are.
Not China.
Not China, no.
Don't put that in there.
We're obviously so close to the Metroplex that most everything comes out of there.
Okay.
So as far as where it's manufactured,
right,
I don't know.
Right, I know.
But,
like you weren't there watching the assembly line.
Correct.
Yeah. So when you're putting together the budget, and let's say, I don't know how much lumber costs. I should probably look at the budget and see.
It varies every day.
Yeah, yep. So let's say that you budget $70,000 for lumber. Would that be normal? Okay, good. Okay. So how much like overage do you build into that, or is that an exact amount that you were quoted?
So our lumber quote generally tries to take into account some of the additional ordering, because there's always additional orders after our main order. So if you say $70,000 for lumber, our first order may be $65,000, and then we'll have to order more rafters, more joists, more decking, stuff like that, and it generally ends up being pretty close to what we estimate.
And then I know on the lending side, we always like to have a cushion, or what we call a contingency. And it varies based on how the contract's written. Normally we'll require a 5% or a 10% contingency. But as a builder, like if we didn't require a contingency, would you put some type of extra allowance or overage amount in your budget?
I remember when y'all started requiring that, and I thought it was genius.
Well, thank you. I didn't make the rule, but thank you.
No, it really does help out. And most people, on the front end when they're signing the contract, they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we have everything figured out." we're not gonna upgrade anything.
Yeah.
Well, it does happen.
Yes.
So it gives the customer the ability to make those upgrades without having to think, okay, I've got to come out of pocket for that change.
Yeah.
How much do I need for closing, moving? We got this furniture we want to buy. So it does give them that flexibility.
Yes.
So I always recommend the overage allowance.
Yeah.
5% I think is pretty good.
Especially on the larger projects, you know.
Yeah. During COVID, when things were really crazy, 10% was good. We had some that surpassed 10%,
yes.
but everything's kind of cooled down now.
Yeah. And on the lending side, you know, the way that I explain it to people is, you know, the construction process, whether it's the loan or the actual build, it always takes longer than you want it to or expect it to, and it always costs more than you want it to or expect it to. But at the end of the day, you get what you want, where you want it, in approximately the time frame you wanted it in. So it's a trade-off, you know, and it is a different animal as far as lending goes. You know, if you tell me you're going to just buy a home that's for sale and it's move-in ready, I can tell you this is exactly how it's going to play out. With construction, I'm going to say it should go like this, but it could go like this or this or this or this, because I mean, there's just so many variables and there's so many people involved, and you know, the vendors and the weather and things like that, where, you know, if you're doing a 30-day close on a spec home, you're just going, you know.